one person who I think is amazing in this is Gaylen Rust, who is salt of the earth. He's a great human being. And he just loved collecting these coins and loved when Mark came in. And he said, I treated him like a son, and he betrayed me. Which, for those who know the story of Al Rust and the Utah story of his son, Gaylen Rust, is kind of heartbreaking as well. And he openly cried about that. He said, I had one man who treated me as a son betray me, and a real son betray me. And if people who know Gaylen Rust, his son, involved in a large-scale Ponzi scheme, a silver dealing scheme. Here's a little inside story that I've never told anyone publicly. I went in to visit Gaylen Rust, and I talked to him, and I said, I want to interview you, because Gaylen Rust had his own story with Mark. He went to New York with Mark to retrieve the McClellan collection. I went and talked to Gaylen, and he took me in his office, and we talked for about an hour, and he says, I don't want you to make this documentary. I don't want you to make it. Every time this story comes up, it causes a lot of pain, which I agree with. And then he said, and of course, Gaylen Rust had millions of dollars, and he was interested in the arts and student funding. And he said, Tyler, how much have you put into this documentary? And I was relatively early at the time in making it. And I said, I've got about $30,000 into the making of this film so far. And he said, how about I give you $50,000 not to make it, and I'll give you $1 million to make a documentary about how important music is to students. And that's a sizable amount of money. I went to the dentist, and I sat right after I went to the dentist, I sat in the dentist chair, and I sat there for an hour and a half just thinking about it. $50,000 just right back to me, and $1 million to make a film. And by the end of it, I said, I'm not going to do that. There's no way. I would regret the rest of my life if I took a payoff to not make the story that I want to make. So I got in my car, and I was driving, and I got a call from Gaylen. And he said, Tyler, I did my research. You're a great filmmaker. I talked to a number of people, and you're going to make this film anyways. So rather than me trying to not have you make it, I'm going to give you the money to make it. And you're going to come into my studio. I'm going to outfit you. I'm going to give you all the money to make this documentary. And I initially that was also interesting as well. Of course, at the time, I didn't have any funding for the film. And I went down that road for a while. Unfortunately, it didn't materialize. And that's good, because the FBI eventually raided his studio and took all of the hard drives and took everything. I do believe, in my opinion, that Gaylen was trying to hide something there too.
This is before it broke that all that happened.
Oh yeah, this is before it broke, of course.
Before the whole scandal.
Yeah. I think Gaylen, in my opinion, I think Gaylen knowingly forged or sold Mark Hofmann forgeries after Mark Hofmann was convicted, including coins. And Gaylen told me, Mark Hofmann never forged coins. He never forged coins. He never forged coins. And the lady doth protest way too much when he was telling me, I never sold Mark Hofmann forgeries. I never sold coins at Mark Hofmann's, which I genuinely believe he did, and he may have been trying to hide that. Wow. He took over the business from Al, and Al told us, I sold him the business, and I regret it, because he didn't have the love of documents that Al Rust had. Al loved these coins. Gaylen just treated him as merchandise and sold them. So there's a little inside baseball. It may have gone way too deep.
Wow, I didn't know that story.
Yeah, you hadn't come on yet, actually, at the time. You weren't a part of it.
Epic.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.